Okay, fight fans, I'm here with Olympic medalist and former heavyweight boxing champ Riddick Bowe. Two-time former champ Riddick Bowe. And we're going to discuss the Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor super fight coming up at August 26th. Let's get it started. So first off, I want to talk about the experience between the two fighters, because Mayweather has 49 professional fights and Conor McGregor has only 24 professional fights. So how much of a factor do you think the experience between these two guys is going to be in the ring?
Well, I think the only difference between that is, I think because of Mayweather's experience, he's going to be a little more relaxed.
Right, so he'll be a little bit more relaxed. And then obviously this is going to be a much bigger fight when you talk about media, the amount of people that are going to be watching the fight compared to his normal MMA fight. And Mayweather is used to these big media productions.
Well, I think that should play a big part too. But I think if McGregor is relaxed, he should do okay.
So you think experience favors Mayweather in this fight?
Absolutely.
Now what about this? The second thing I was thinking about between the two fighters is knockout power. I was looking in Mayweather's 49 fights, he only has 29 knockouts, or 26 knockouts. McGregor, however, 75% of his fights, he wins by knockout. So is there any way possible you think that Conor McGregor could maybe knock Mayweather out in this fight?
Anything is possible in the fight. However, I think Mayweather's going to use lateral movement to get him tired, and it's in his best interest to make the fight go longer and then take him out.
Okay, I kind of agree with that one. The third thing that I think when I think of these two fighters, the big difference is age. Conor McGregor is in his prime, and Floyd Mayweather is coming back from retirement, this time at 40 years old. And so, you know, you've come back too and fought again later in your career. So do you think that age is going to be a factor in this fight for Mayweather?
Well, I think if Mayweather gets himself in great condition, I don't think that would be a big problem.
He does have second to none cardio. And we do know that Conor McGregor has gassed out early in fights before, so that could definitely be a factor.
Absolutely.
All right, so now the second part of this interview that I kind of wanted to mention to you is the differences between boxing and MMA. I think that's a huge part of this fight. You know, boxing has one set of rules and MMA has a completely different set of rules. And one of the biggest things I think is the gloves. So we have two different sets of gloves. McGregor is used to wearing lightweight gloves, which definitely help him knock people out, and Mayweather is used to using the big boxing gloves. So I think there's two sides to this tale. One, the boxing gloves benefit Mayweather because it's going to be harder for McGregor to fire in quick shots and maybe possibly knock him out. On the flip side, because McGregor's being hit with the boxing glove and he's used to being hit with much lighter gloves, I don't know if they're really going to hurt him that much, these punches, because he's had such a bigger glove he's being hit with. It's going to feel like practice, is what I'm thinking. So what do you think, the difference between the two gloves? Who does that favor?
I don't think that makes a big difference. But I would have to say it favors Mayweather because he's used to boxing and dealing with the gloves. I don't know about McGregor. I don't know if he'll adapt. He'll adapt.
That's his burden, I guess, to bear, is whether or not he can adapt to these gloves in this situation.
Right.
The second thing I think that is the big difference between a boxing match and a mixed martial arts match is the length of the fight. And we talked about this a little bit before the interview. You know, you have 12 rounds as opposed to 5 rounds in a championship UFC fight, and in a regular UFC fight you only have 3 rounds. So this is going to be an extremely long fight for McGregor.
I would say so. I mean, dealing with the movement, getting hit with the gloves, it's going to be a lot of stuff he has to get used to. So with that being the case, I have to say Mayweather.
Okay, all right. Now what about the actual rule changes themselves? It would seem to me that it benefits Mayweather because he's always fought in boxing. This is all he's done his whole life since he was a child. He's used to these rules. And McGregor has to adjust to a whole new set of rules. So I'm wondering if there's some possibility that McGregor gets penalized, breaks the rule, or has some other problem adjusting to boxing versus MMA. For instance, even the ring, as we can see that we're sitting in, is much bigger than the octagon, it feels like.
Right. I think they're about the same, but we gotta wait and see how he takes to that. You know what I mean? It's a new animal. It's something totally different. So we gotta see how he takes to it. I hope he does. I hope he does pretty good.
Okay. All right. Now, how about this one? There's some rumors that are flying around the internet, and as the rumor goes, Jesse Vargas is a young professional boxer, and he said that Conor McGregor was knocked out in sparring practice by Bradley Wheeler. He also said in that video that the professional boxing community is very small, and so I was wondering if you'd heard the same rumor.
Well, that's the first time I heard that, but you're in the gym, you never know what happens.
That's true. Now, what about this one? Is it common for people to be knocked out in sparring preparing for a big fight?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Now, what about if you are knocked out in a sparring situation, is it normal for the person you're sparring with to go out and kind of, leak that information to the press? It would seem to me that if you're preparing for a professional fight, you would have the sparring people sign some sort of paperwork or something that said they couldn't, talk outside the gym about what happened.
Well, I've never been knocked out, so I don't know how they do that.
When you've never been knocked out, you don't know how that works. I love it. Okay, so you think the Vargas claim is true or false? You think McGregor could have been knocked out in sparring
He
practice?
could have been knocked out, but I don't think people leak it, so
So you think it's highly
really
unlikely?
hard to say.
All right, we're going to go with highly unlikely on that one. Now about this one. Here's my final question for you in the interview. What is your prediction for the fight? How long do you think it'll go? How do you think the fight's going to go? Who do you think is going to be the victor and by how?
Okay, I would say Mayweather. I think his lateral movement is going to be a big test for McGregor. So I think at the end of the day, Mayweather wins by decision.
Mayweather wins by decision?
Yes,
so it
sir.
goes all 12 rounds,
Absolutely.
Mayweather wins by decision. I think that's the smart man's bet, is that Mayweather wins by decision. I think the only other likely scenario is some lucky knockout early by McGregor. He just catches him, he's got a little ring rust.
That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen, he says.
Mayweather is too slick. He good ring generalship. That's not going to happen.
Okay, guys, you've heard it here first. Riddick Bowe is calling Floyd Mayweather in a 12-round decision in the super fight. The super fight is taking place August 26th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Now, if we were fighting in an octagon, say Mayweather, this type of thing was in an octagon, on the octagon rules, who would you pick?
Man, I think that if it's in an octagon rules, Mayweather's at a huge disadvantage because he could get tackled, he could get taken down. He has no defense for that. So it's a huge advantage for Mayweather.
Same thing with
for
boxing.
McGregor.
It's the same thing. So if I was fighting MMA, I would pick McGregor. Or now that we're going with boxing, I got to pick Mayweather.
Yeah, in MMA, it definitely favors McGregor, and in boxing, it definitely favors Mayweather. I think McGregor's stuck, though, because boxing pays so much more money. It wouldn't make any sense for Mayweather to come to the UFC, so it makes a lot of sense for McGregor to leave the UFC and get the big boxing payday.
Hello.
So he's stuck playing Mayweather's game no matter what he wants to play.
It's all about the Benjamins.
Exactly, and Mayweather's Benjamins go a lot farther than Conor McGregor's Benjamins go these days. Thanks for joining us, everyone. This is Riddick Bowe, two-time heavyweight world champion, and I'm Patrick Zarrelli here at the Heavyweight Factory in Hollywood, Florida. Thanks for joining.